Okay. So let's start like this. Let's start from the beginning of the mitzvah. We said it over fast, but I want to show it to you inside how it works. Mitzvah chavtes. A mitzvah tesha v'yesrim. Hi shetzivonu lahavir eish al hamizbach b'chol yom tamid. So if you look at the lashon of the Rambam, the way it's presented, lahavir, he's doing something. And we'll speak about it as we go on. Yisale eish tomid tukar al mizbech lo yisichbe. V'ze lo yitochin elo bima shetzivo lahasmid lohasim eitzim abokim ben abayim. That's the shnei gizur eitzim abokim ben abayim. So we discussed last week, and that's the main point over here, is that the pasuk itself says Eish Tomid Tukad, and the lashon Tukad is a lashon is a nifal. It means that there should be Eish on the mizbach. It's not talking about what you do. Okay, Eish Tomid Tukad. So one could have assumed that the mitzvah is just to have Eish on the mizbeach. Okay? So the point is, what I'm going to show you, is that the Rambam and Mishnah Torah has both aspects of this mitzvah, that there should be Eish on the mizbeach, loshen nifal, and that there should be a ma'aser of putting Eish on the mizbeach. That you see in terms of the Rambam Mishnah Torah. However, in Sefer HaMitzvos, I think it's very clear that everything's a ma'aser, and it's one thing. He shetzivonu lahavir eish al hamizbach b'chol yom tamid. V'zeh lo yitochen elo b'ma shetzivo lahasmid lahasim eish le'etzim baboike ubeinu abayim. So it means the two things are one, that the mitzvah is a ma'aser. It says tukad, the Rambam is not misyaches to that it's a loshen nifal. In Mishnah Torah, it's not like that, because the Mishnah Torah says in Perek Aleph, Halacha Aleph, mitzvah say liyos eish yekeda hamid al hamizbech. And the lashon yiyos, liyos, is a giveaway that it should be, not that he's doing something. So he doesn't discuss a ma'aser. And it could be, and there's no ma'aser miyuchad that you need, no ma'aser miyuchadis, and you need kohen to be madikli eish, not because of a ma'aser mitzvah of adloka, but that the mizbech should not be mechubeh, that there should be eish in mizbech, and only kohen is allowed to light, because lighting is an avodah, but that's not the mitzvah. The mitzvah should be lit. The Rambam Perek Tes of Hilchos Bias HaMikdash Halacha Hey says that hadlokas hamizbeach is an avodah, so mainly need kohen. So it could be you need kohen to be madlik the mizbeach, but the hadlokas is not the ma'aser mitzvah. The mitzvah is that the mizbeach should be doluk. So it could be that in Mishnah Torah, certainly the mitzvah is on the tzibur, and the mitzvah is that there should be eish on the mizbeach. The same way lechem apon is mut on the tzibur, and there should be on and not necessarily on the kohen, even though the kohen does it with shlucha didan or whatever. So yeah, just 1 second. Let me just read. Mitzvah say, Lios Eish Yekoid the Tamid al Mizbech. So this Tamid in Yekoida is certainly always. The question is, since we said, okay, so let's go slowly. So in Mishnah Torah, there's a there's a mitzvah b'loshen nifal that there should be eish al mizbech, and tamid means always. Okay, kozman. Then in Mishnah Torah, there's another element that a ma'aseh mitzvah of to put eish on the mizbeach, or eitzim ve'eish on the mizbeach twice a day. And this mitzvah is on the kohen. It's the mitzvah of avodas hadlaka. And this is the Mishnah Torah b'boker ochim eitzim shenema eitzim v'oisim b'rosh hamizbeach maroch gedolah shel eish shenema b'yoleh akoyin eitzim b'boker v'chein mitzvah la'alois b'shnei gizrei eitzim im tomit shel shacha yes al atzim maroch shenema nosal leho hakoyin eitzim v'chein moisifen shnei gizrei eitzim tomit shel bein arbayim shenema v'ochlo eitzim alo eish v'yishmu lomdu shebetomit shel bein arbayim akos medaber. Okay. So the shnei gizrei eitzim shnei kohanim shenema v'ochlu harei kan shnayim avo shel shacha b'koyin echad. Okay. So there's a ma'aseh mitzvah, the sinis eish of mizbeach, and there's also a mitzvah that the lios eish yekoida al mizbeach, tamid al mizbeach. Interesting, in the Protei mitzvahs, it's mamish like here in Sefer mitzvahs, lahadlik eish al mizbeach b'chol yom. So the Rambam and Mishnah Torah has both, and I assume then when he says Af al pi sho'eish yoda min hashamayim mitzvah lahavi eish min hahedit shenever v'nosnu b'nei agrin hakohanim eish al mizbeach. There's a ma'aseh mitzvah. So l'chreira, in in Minyan HaMitzvos, he says, HaMitzvah, Hatsha, Tesha v'esrim hi, shetzivonu lahavir eish al hamizbech b'chol yom tamid. Since he's talking about a Ma'aseh mitzvah, not there's eish all time, so it has to be Zman Kvuyim. Okay, so l'cheira, there's a different approach to what the mitzvah is. The mitzvah is the Ma'aseh, the Minchas Chinuch is really talking about the Rambam Mishnah Torah, and in Mitzvah Kuf Lamed Beis, he is seems to assume in the Rambam that there are two aspects to the mitzvah, but he's really only talking about the Rambam Mishnah Torah. I'm not sure if you can make the same case here in Sefer HaMitzvos, because this V'zali Yitochen, he's defining the mitzvah. El v'mashet tziva l'shnei gizreitz. It means the mitzvah is the shnei giz is the Ma'aseh mitzvah. That's what I would say. So that is the beginning over here. I must admit to you that Chumash here, just to interpret the Pesukim of Chumash, is not a simple task. And I'll tell you why. There are two parshas in the Torah about Eish. Two parshas in the Torah about Eish. And Parsha Vayikra and Parsha Tzav. And the interesting thing is that you don't understand B'chlau, Pshuta Shemikah, at least I don't understand. One discussion of Eish is in the Parsha of Oilas Nedova of Boko in Vayikra. So for the life of me, I have no clue what the mitzvah of Eish has to do with Oilas Boko Nedova. And we'll go through the Pesukim and see. And then in Parshat Tzav, there's a discussion in Zeis Teres Ha'olah. We're talking about Ramas Hadeshen and Oitzas Hadeshen, whatever. There's also psukim there. It's the Parsha of Zeis Teres Ha'olah. Now, let's now define the psukim and see what happened. Eish. Okay, now let's go one at a time. There's an idea of Eish Tamid, which is what the Rambam has, the mitzvah. In Mishnah Torah, it's that there should be in the nifal, that there should be Eish on the mizbach. And here, in Sefer HaMitzvos, he quotes the same person, and he seems to have it as a Ma'aseh. That's Eish Tamid, Tukah on mizbach Tamid. That's a Vayikra Vav, Pasuk Vav, in the beginning of Parshat Tzav. Then, there's the mitzvah of Eish. V'nosnu b'nei Aaron HaKohen Eish hala mizbeach. That's in the middle of Parshas Oilas Nedova of Boko, and that's a Vayikra Aleph Pasuk Zayin. Then there are two psukim Shnei Gizrei Eitzim, one in Tzav and one in Parshas Vayikra. In Parshas Vayikra, Pasuk Vav, Parshas Tzav, in Perek Vav, Pasuk Hey, the Shnei Gizreim of Tomash Shachar, Ubi Aleh HaKohen, Eitzim Baboike. That's one Kohen, Ubi Aleh, because one Kohen brings the Eitzim Mashachas. In Bein Abayim, it's two Kohanim, and that is in Perek Aleph, Pasuk Zayin, in the Parsha of Oilas Nedova, of Boko, V'orchu eitzim alo eish. V'orchu eitzim. It's two kohanim, and that's the shnei gizrei eitzim bein abayim. So it's all over the place, the psukim, but it's in the parsha of Oilas Nedova, of Boko, and the parsha of Zeis Teres Oila. What has it to do with Zeis Teres Oila or this Boko? This is a problem. There's no relationship between the psukim. It's like all of a sudden it fell out of Min HaShamayim. So the Malbim asked the question in Ois Memches, what does that have to do? Frankly, I don't know. I'm not, I can't say I'm excited about the answer, not the answer. Say, Ayin Shom. Shimshon Before Hirsch also asked the kasha. I can't tell you I'm excited about any of the answers. But the amazing thing is, not to be unexpected, but it's certainly amazing. Let me read to you this. Palms of Sadigoin says, and he says, here it is. Perek Yutes. Perek Yutes is the Perek Hatisha also. Shah HaKobonis, okay? V'zeh Arboim Ushmonim mitzvahs. There are 49 mitzvahs. 48 mitzvahs, excuse me. Now, here we go. Listen to this mitzvah. The mitzvah of Olas Boka Nedova on page 169. V'im hoya zeh shebol of miskape boy min aboko. I guess this kapola of Oila. It's me kufya, whatever. I'm not getting involved in it now, okay? Here, let me start. Achakach korbanos habehemo sheyehudi u'ashoy lisnadev bohem chamisha sugim shloishim mitochom nisrofen kolil vehem ma shenikra oila v'im hoye zeh shebol miskapa bo min aboko yishchatenu v'inatchenu. That shchita and nituach. V'yavir lo es ha'esh. And v'yavir lo es ha'esh, there's a peculiar esh for oila. V'yavir lo es ha'esh. And it's not this, the way it's quoted here, over here, it's not a mitzvah of esh. It's part of the mitzvah of Olas Boko Nedova. Ahakach Yisrafenu. Kamo she's this boy bepashim Oila Korbanoi min Boko at Sefer. He says, "V'im hoyim minatzayim," because there it doesn't mention Eish. Oisabo k'maasei hokari barishon chutz me'avoris Eish neisefes k'moshn is boy b'pasha v'im mina hatzoin korbanoi, because there it doesn't mention Eish. Akan. So I don't know anything, but it's very, very difficult. I understand Rav Sadi does such a thing, but you don't get the impression of Chazal that the Eish is the for Olas Nedova, for Boko. It's a separate Eish, but it's the mitzvah of Eish. But what is it doing in the middle of the Pasha of Olas Boko? Isn't it? Okay, next. Listen, you have to be honest when you don't know. Lahasmi lahasim eitzim aboikel. Oh, so that's it. So he says, "V'zelo yitochen el mamash etzivo lahasmi lahasim eitzim baboikel beino abayim." כמו שנסבויה בשני דיומו ומסכס תמיד. Now, and it says, Lahasmid, Lahasim Eitzim, Baboikel Ben Abayim. That I understand. Interesting. I'm telling you a guess. I don't know what it means. Because you wouldn't have seen it. In Kapach and in Ibn Tibin, it's Eitzim, Ho Eitzim, Ho Eitzim. Lahasmid, Lahasim, Ho Eitzim, Ho Eitzim, Baboikel Ben Abayim. In Ibn Eov, it says, Lahasmid, Lahasim, Ho'esh al ho'etzim. I don't know what that means. Lahashmid lahosim eitzim. This the shnei gizer eitzim. So I don't know unless it's not the shnei gizer. I misunderstand the shnei gizer eitzim. Ho'esh al ho'etzim. Cheslet. Okay. Now let's go. Now let's just try to come to conclusions over here. There are 3 marochos on the mizbach. There's the Marach Gedola, which upon it were Makriv Korbanos. There's Marach Shniya, which is the Tzarech HaKteres. And the Marach Shlishis, which is the Kimweish. That's the Rambam in Perek Beis Halacha Hey. Zu reish al mizbeh tukad boy, zo maroch shlishis shel kimweish. Now, my suggestion is that both the Rambam here and the Rambam Mishnah Torah, it's a double poshit. There's a kiyum mitzvah with the putting eish on the Marach Gedola. And not the mitzvah is not limited to the Marach of kiyum eish. The Marach Shlish is kiyum eish that we understand. The is a mitzvah, the kiyum eish. But the Marach Gedola is also a mitzvah. How do I know that? Because the Shnei Gizrei Eitzim, both the Tamid Shel Shacha and the Tamid Shel Bayim, are put on the Marach Gedola, and that is part of the mitzvah. That's he says now also in Perek Beis Halacha Beis in Tamiid Musafin. Baboike ochim eitzim v'oisim b'roich hamizbach maroch gedola shel eish shenemu bi oleh aklein eitzim baboike baboike v'chein mitzvah la'alois gzorim shel eitz im toma shel shacha yeser al atzei marocha. So it's very strange. See, the Rambam is mashma 2 steps. Listen again. Baboike, ochim eitzim, v'oisim b'roish hamizbeach, maroch gedol shel eish, shneim ubia oleh haklein eitzim baboike. And he quotes the same pasuk with 2 different things, because then he quotes the same pasuk, mitzvah la'alois b'shnei. Gizrei gezorim shel eitz im toma shel shachar shel yeser al atzei marocha shen will be aleh aklein eitzim. There is be aleh aklein eitzim baboike. Whatever Josh is that you set at the marocha gedola, and the kohen also does the shnei gizrei eitzim baboike. So it's a double portion. That the shnei, that the Marach Gedola is part of the mitzvah. Now, okay, so the question is, so we know the Marach Gedolah is part of the mitzvah, and it's even clearer in Mishnah Torah because he talks explicitly about the Marach Gedolah. He's a bi'akain eitzim baboiker, and then he quotes it again. Bi'akain eitzim baboiker, bi'akain eitzim. That's the shnei gizrei eitzim. Now we have three Marachas, right? So there's a Marach Gedolah in the Marach of Kiyum Eish the third. The second one is Keteris. What about the Marach L'tzorach Akteris? Is that also a kiyum in this mitzvah? So what's the suffix? Because misvara, there's no relationship to Marach Shniya, which is Tzorach Keteris in the mitzvah. The Marach Gedolah, that's part of the mitzvah, and the other, the Marach Shlishis, is for Kiyum Eish, so it's also for the mitzvah. But this is only for Keteris, it wasn't doing anything. But if you look at the Rambam learns out the Eish HaMizbach Tukad boy, which l'chayr is also part of the mitzvah. The Eish HaMizbach Tukad boy. The Eish HaMizbach Tukad boy that's the makor for the Marach Sakteres. The Eish HaMizbach Tukad boy Marach Shniya Shel Keteres. What's going to say? The Eish HaMizbach Tukad boy Zu Marach Shniya Keteres. So you'd also assume, because of that the Marach Shniya is part of the mitzvah. The Minchas Chinuch brings a raya. Also, there's a kiyum if the mitzvah of Eish Mizbech Tukad in Marach Shniya. Minchas Chinuch and Kuf Lamed Beis, Ois Aleph, Ulefi ani is dati, Poshut, the mitzvah zo, shehi Tamid Eish ala Mizbeach, Yoitze be'eze Eish, hein mi Marach Gedolah, or Marach Shniya, va mitzvah shehi Eish. You see, once the mitzvah, he starts like this. Once he's working with Ram Mishnah Torah that there should be Eish. So if there's Eish, what difference make what it is? Varaya, Yehuda Sefer, the loy hoyel Marach Shokim Eish. The one Tana holds there was no Marach Shokim Eish. V'chilesle, Tihi mitzvah shehi al mizbeach eish rakta mitzvah hi eish v'niskayim b'eish hamarocha. It's any eish. There's not dafka a separate marocha for eish because in one time there's no such thing. Now here, another point about this mitzvah. The Ram says ubebeya. This is Sefer. Omru Afal Pi Shoesh Yoiredes Min Hashamayim Mitzvah Lahavi Min Ahedit. So, what's the point over here? And we'll come back to the Gemara Zvachim says that the Eish Min Hashamayim the Eish Yod B'mei Moshe, the Gemara Tzamach Aleph from the base, was Yod Shemayim B'mei Moshe L'Nistalko Me'al HaMizbach Mizbach HaNechoshes El B'mei Shlomo. V'Eish Sheyod B'mei Shlomo L'Nistalko Ad Shebo Menashe V'Silkoi. And this, the makor of that is a Sefer. So what's happening is even after there's no Eish Min HaShamayim, there's certainly the mitzvah to put on Eish of Hedyot. And I assume that it means also that even when there's Eish Min HaShamayim, there's also mitzvah Hedyot. I mean, you bring the fact that it's a mitzvah all the time is a mitzvah when there is Eish Min HaShamayim and there isn't Eish Min HaShamayim. There's a Ma'aseh mitzvah of Simas Eish Mishal Hedyot. So there's a problem over here. Is it mean Alpha Pisha Eish Yoredes? It's Lashon Hover. Does it mean always? Alpha Pisha Eish Yoredes Min HaShamayim? Or it means Alpha Pisha Eish Yodem Min HaShamayim? The mitzvah Lahavi Min HaHedyot. So there's a tshuva from the Ram's grandson, great-grandson, and he says that they say Yoredes is a very difficult girsa because it was Hifzik B'mei Menashe. And he claims the proper girsa is Yorda. And that's the Lashon of the Gemara also. Eish Sheyorda Min HaShamayim B'mei Moshe, Sheyorda. Okay, beseder, you know. I know how important it is, but the mitzvah is. See, I'm not even sure. I would assume, but it's only an assumption on my part. If there's, the mitzvah is Yekida al Mizbeach, I'm not even sure. You see, let me just read to you this and I'll suggest something. Mitzvah Aseh, Liyos Eish Yekida, Perik Beis Aloch Aleph, Tamiid al Mizbeach. Shenema v'Eish Tamiid, Tukar al Mizbeach Tamiid. So we said that there should be Eish al Mizbeach. So if it would have been me, I would have put two dots over here, and I would have said a new halacha, and it's real akdomat halacha base. That there's a ma'aseh mitzvah also. Af b'sheish yodem min hashamayim, mitzvah lavi eish min hahedyot. Shenema v'nosnu b'nei aroin hakohanim eish al mizbeach. Baboke ochin eitzim v'oisim b'rosh marocha v'chulei. And then there's shnei gizra eitz v'shacha and ben abayim. But the Rambam puts this Eish Min HaShamayim together with Halacha Aleph. And maybe, I'm wondering out loud, is maybe the Rambam's opinion is that the mitzvah of Eish Min HaShamayim, if you only have Eish Min HaShamayim on the Mizbeach, maybe you're not Mekayim the mitzvah of Eish. Maybe the mitzvah of Eish is only if you have Shal Hedyot. Is Alpha Pish Eish Yodem Min HaShamayim and doch the mitzvah is to have Eish al Mizbeach? No, you're not Mekayim the mitzvah unless you have Shal Hedyot. And then it's beautiful. Alpha Pish Eish Yodem Min HaShamayim, mitzvah lahavi Eish Min HaHedyot. Shnema v'nosu min ha'aroin ha'kohanim Eish al Mizbeach. So even then, even though there's a Maisa, the purpose of it, there should be Eish Min HaHedyot all the time. Maybe that's the pshat. Okay, next. Now, next mitzvah. Mitzvah lamed. He shetzivonu nitztavu hakohanim second. Let's see, just wait. Let me get the Sefer. Lamed. He shnitztavu hakohanim lohosir ho'efer b'chol yoim me'al gabi hamizbach. Okay, so it talks about taking the deshen lohosir hadeshen b'chol yoim me'al gabi mizbeach, from off of the mizbeach. V'hu hanikra tchumas hadeshen. He's not talking about hitzos hadeshen. He's talking about tchumas hadeshen. V'hu amro yis'aleh v'lo v'shakei midei bad u'michnisei bad yilbash al b'soro v'heirim es hadeshen. Tchumas hadeshen. V'ha'izboy dini mitzvah zo become makoymes min meseches tamid v'kippurim. Now, let's start slowly. It says here that the mitzvah is b'chol yom. This is a priori amazing, because where does it say in the Torah b'chol yom? The Rambam also says b'chol yom in mitzvah lamed, larim hadeshen me'al mizbech b'chol yom, shenema v'herim hades v'herim es hadeshen. In protein mitzvahs at the beginning of Chostin Musafim, larim hadeshen b'chol yom. Hilchos Tmiz Musafim. Peg Beis. Halacha Yud. Haramas hadeshen me'al hamizbeach b'chol yom mitzvah Aseh shenema v'herim es hadeshen. So it's everyone, again, the Rambam says it again and again and again, b'chol yom. So the question is, where do you get it from? There's no post in the Torah that says b'chol yom. So the Rambam is learning it from the Seder Avodas HaMizbech in Parashat Sav, because it says Sav is b'nei Aaron v'yezbonav leimo zeis teres ha'oila hi ha'oila al moikedo al HaMizbech kol halayla ad ha'boiker v'yesh HaMizbech tukad boy. V'lovash hakohen midoi bad, u'michtasei bad yilvash ha-b'sor hemis hadeshen. So the avodas laila b'chol yoim is the equal and the schreifa ha'olah. And the Gemara, the Sefer, there's a mitzvah b'chol yoim lahorim hadeshen me'al mizbech. That's what he's learning. It's a chiddush, but that's the pshat, I think. And that's the parsha is talking about the oila which is on the mizbech kol halayla, and this ikuli oila, and then after that, every morning there's a Ramas Hadeshen at the end of the night. Now, see, the Pasuk goes like this. Before, the Ram only talks about the Ramas Hadeshen here, correct? That's all he's talking about. Vihi anikris trumas hadeshen. The pasuk v'lovash hakohen midei vad u'michlisei bad yilbash al b'soroi v'herim es hadeshen asher tocha lo eish es ha'olo al hamizbach v'somoy eitz al hamizbach u'foshet es begodov v'lovash begodim aherim v'hotzi es hadeshen michutz lamachne el mokum toho. So lefi pashas apsukim, there's Ramas Hadeshen, Simash Hadeshen al Yad HaMizbeach, and Hoitzoras Hadeshen. The Rambam in Tmidim Musaf and Peri Beis, Alocha Yud Beis, Ketzat Tolmin, V'chulei, V'noitel Samachte, V'yol Rosh HaMizbeach, U'mefane Es HaGecholim, Eilich V'eilich, V'chreite Men HaGecholim, Shenisachlu B'leiv Ho'eish, V'yored Lamato Lo'oretz, V'hoifich Poro V'tzofon, U'mahalech Ba'oretz, L'mizrach HaKevesh, Kmo Esa Amois, Klape HaTzofon, V'tzev Esa Gecholim, Shechota Al-Gabi Al-Ritzbo, Murochak Men HaKevesh, Shloshet Tvochim, B'chulei, V'siezu Shechota B'machta, U'moy Ritzbo, Eitz Al-Mizbeach, Hi HaMitzvah Shekol Yom. So the mitzvah is not only the aroma, but the hilot de l'ritzbo. As it says in the pasuk, "V'lovach hakoyim midoi bad, u'michsei bad yilosho b'sor, v'heim es adeshen, shetoch al ha'esh, es ha'olah al ha'mizbeach, v'somo etz ha'mizbeach." I assume that this what the Ram has in mind over here. Because what does he say? If he only meant the Truma, he should have said he should itztavo kohanim. He shouldn't say it says it should be litzbo hadeshen. But he says lahosir. He's not even talking about the bringing lahosir hadeshen b'chol yoim me'agabe mizbech. Where is he putting it? He's putting it al yad mizbech. It's from off the mizbech. So he's talking about the tzvius hadeshen al karka. Okay? Now let's read the psukim again. Let's try it again. I'm telling you, it's an amazing, it's a very difficult thing here. In Pasha Sav, in Vayikol Vov, Pasuk Gimel through Daled. V'lovash hakoyin midei bad, u'michnasei bad yilbash al b'soroi, v'heim es hadeshen asher toichal o eish, es ha'ola al mizbeach, v'somoitz al mizbeach, u'fosh es begodov. So that's also the somoitz al mizbeach. U'fosh es begodov, v'lovash begodov achirim, v'hotzi es hadeshen, el michutz lamachne, el mokum toch. So the Ram here quotes V'lovash hakoyin midei bad u'michnesei bad yilbash al b'sor v'heim es hadeshen. Now let's just see. Let's go slowly, okay? So again, we have the haromas hadeshem al mizbeach, the simo eitz al mizbeach, and the itzos hadeshem. In Hilchos Tridin B'Sofim, in Peri Beis, Halacha Yud, haromas hadeshem me'al mizbeach b'chol yoim mitzvos Aseh, shenema v'herim es hadeshen. Vihi avoidem avodas kahuna. Ubigdei kahuna sheterim bohen hadeshen yiu pchusim en abagodne shemeshamshim bohen b'shar avodos shenema ufoshen es begodov v'lovash begodem achirim v'herim es hadeshen. It's an amazing thing. Ein oim achirim shiu bigdei choil el shiu pchusim en rishonim. Lefi she'eno derech eretz yimzoy kois l'raboy b'begod m'shebishal b'hen kedei l'raboy. So the whole discussion of begod the pchusim is on the Trumas Hadeshen. And it's some way it's a mizbech, but not the Hitzah. The Ram doesn't talk about that source Hadeshen here. He doesn't talk about it in Mishnah Torah as being part of the mitzvah. In Minyan here, he doesn't talk about the Hitzah Hadeshen. And in Minyan HaKotzer, in Mitzvah Lamed, Lahorim Hadeshen me'al mizbeach. B'chol yom, shenem v'herim es Hadeshen. Potei mitzvahs, Lahorim Hadeshen b'chol yom. In Peri Beis Halacha Yud, Tmiid Musafim, haromas hadeshen me'al mizbech b'chol yom mitzvah Aseh shenem v'herim es Hadeshen. Now, in Peri Beis Halacha Yudal Tezvov, kol mi sheyirtze min hakohanim mimale min hadeshen shoridu lemato umotzi chutz le'ir l'shefach hadeshen. Okay, any kind that want to do it. Ein loitzoas hadeshen l'chutz pius el kol ha'loitze u'me'olam lo disatzel bohen lo disatzel koyin milohoitzi es hadeshen. ואף על פי שאין הוצאות לחוץ עבודה וכולי. So it means that the haromas hadeshen and the somoitz mizbech is an avodah, and the hitzos hadeshen is not an avodah. So the Torah quotes the whole thing together. There's the haroma, the somewhere on mizbeach, and the itzah. And the Ram seems to say that the mitzvah is only the haroma and the somewhere on mizbeach. The itzah is not part of the mitzvah. So the Mishnah Melech dealt with this issue, and in Perek Beis of Hilchos Tefillin Musafim, Halacha Yud Beis, and he says, Yesh lachko b'tzin zeh do itzos hadeshen im hu min haTorah midrabanan. That's a very amazing thing. Utzad hi drabanan itzos hadeshen enu mitzvah mitzad atzmo elo the muchochin anu lohoitzi es hadeshen kidei lefanis mokoim hamaroch ukok ksiv lohoitzi es hadeshen lav lememo the tzivonu lohakosu sheinoitzi es hadeshen. Amazing thing. The mehechetese shani chenu oisei shom lo'ilam elakor horikoma k'shiotzi es hadeshen v'lovash begodem acherim kloima mishum derech eretz nimsa the hoitzo zu eino mitzvah mitzad atzmo ki machshi avoida dahainu lefanis mokoim lamarocha. So that's, I don't know, amazing thing. This is Chashulchan, I don't know, Aseh. Also, in Siman Kuf Daled, he says, V'chati yezu shechoite b'machto u'moiri l'ritzvah etz hamizbeach hi ha-mitzvah shel kol yoim. So the Ram says, when the Ram says hi ha-mitzvah shel kol yoim, is mashman is part of the mitzvah that's not b'chol yoim, and that's Eitzos HaDeshen. No, maybe. So the Mishnah talks about this. The Minchas Chinuch talks about this. And also, say, the question is, is it part of the mitzvah? Not part of the mitzvah. Chais. Doesn't talk about it here. But the deal, okay. Now, there's another question. What begodim does he use the Trumas Hadeshen, according to the Ram? Because the Pashna Kla is begodim b'pchusim is loitzos Hadeshen. Ufoshen is begodim, v'lovash begodim acherim, v'hoitzi es Hadeshen, and b'chutz l'machna, mokum to'ah. And the Kohen wore normal begodim for the Trumas Hadeshen. The Ram writes, however, in Halacha Yud, the big day kahuna, shetoim behen hadeshen, you pchus men habegodim shemeshamish bohen b'shar avodos. Shenema ufoshad es begodim v'lovash begodim acherim ve'erim es hadeshen. Although if you look in the pasuk, the begodim acherim is going on the hitzos hadeshen, not in the trumas hadeshen. And the Ram is saying, no, Kilu, it's going on the Aromas Hadeshen. The Kesef Mishnah asks Kash the Pasuk, how's he reading? Is he reading the Pasuk in the way? So I don't know. It's clear the Ram is not a Torah Sefer. Because the Ram has the same thing also in Pirush Mishnayis and Tamid. Perek Hey Ab Mishnah Gimel. Avol Omu, Yis'al Foshe Es Begodah, V'lovash Begodah Acherim, Ve'herim Es Hadeshen, Ein HaKavona. Bo Shiur Big Dechol. V'lovash Becherim Acherim is going on Ve'herim. But it's not the pasuk that we have. El Shiur Pchusim Mehem B'chashivusam. Kulim Ve'en Kulim Big De Kodesh. Omu makish begodim sheposhel begodim shelovash. Malahalim be the kodesh. Apakala come be the kodesh. So there is a litva. We'll skip this now, just to finish the idea. I would say it's posher according to the Rambam. Hoitzos hadeshen is not an avodah; it's a double portion. It's only key in the mizbach, like the Mishnah Melech. So it's a double portion. They only big the kuhuna. So if the Torah says v'lovash b'godem acherim, it can't mean that it's going on the pshuta shemikah for the Hoitzos hadeshen, but it must be going on the Trumas hadeshen. And that's begid the b'chus of the Trumas hadeshen. Look at the Mishnah Melech in Halacha Yud also. There is a Ritva in Yuma on Yud Beis, Amid Beis, Tiva Masra B'so, Matamalo Mayubosh, Lohovi Mitznefes, V'avne L'Aroma. Pirish, Gabe Trumas Hadeshen Ksiv, V'lovash HaKoyin, Midei Bad, Mitznei Bad Yubosh B'so, V'emes Hadeshen. V'hai Yubosh Miyusahu, L'Droshe. Then he's Diva Chosim, Matamaloimo, Yubosh Rabish Shchokim. Yesh Pirish Rabish Lo Yasek Trumas Hadeshen, Ela B'Shchokim, Mishum de Begog Shemoizik Behen Rab, Bohem, Raboy Al Yivashu Behen Kedel L'Raboy. And that's the Rambam. The Imkain V'Herim Hadeshen should come out according to Koi Al Halom Hadeshen. The Divya Rambam. It's going on the Trumas Hadeshen, and it means you wear the shchokim. But according to Ritva, even though it says that Dosha requires big dekuna, not like the Rambam. So Mitzvah Hashem, we'll pick up next week this Blineda, the Rambam in Mitzvah Lamed Aleph.